Just mix it up.
What's going on? Welcome back to another Primetime Ride Time. This edition is to talk about 15 Yankee. What that is an AH-64 on electric avionics pair. And why not bring the horse to the stable, right? This is his job. He's going to tell us what it's like day to day. This is Sergeant Duffy. If you've seen it in a previous video, I'm going to read the quick description, if you don't mind, of what the book answer is of this job. This job, your main thing is a primary responsibility for maintain an AH-64 helicopter twin-engine attack aircraft. With hundreds of Army missions depending on these helicopters, they must ensure that all of them are safe and ready to fly. That is the description of what it is. Let's really talk about what you're actually going to be doing. Sergeant Duffy, let us know about the day-to-day life.
So it's very accurate. So my number one responsibility is to make sure that aircraft is safe to fly. I got 2 pilots going up there. I want to make sure I got 2 pilots coming back. All right. And then the second thing is, just fixing the helicopter, making sure it's good to go. But number one priority is safety of those pilots. So safe to fly for them.
So you actually fix the helicopter yourself, right?
Yep.
You actually do that?
Yep.
Okay.
So that's number one priority is safe for flight. And then the weapon system. That's because, that's our bread and butter in my job, is make sure that attack helicopter can be an attack helicopter and not just a, lame Black Hawk or something like that, just a regular helicopter.
Okay. And so for your training, did you have to pay for it? How long was it? What was your training to be able to do that job?
So the whole entire process, all right, first you got to join the Army. Then you go to boot camp, you're 9 weeks, 4 days. And then it's 24 weeks of job training, which comes out to about 6 months of job training.
Army college, basically.
Yeah. So basically just school to learn this job. So how the schooling kind of works is, you have your normal PT in the morning, and you go eat breakfast, then you go to class. So kind of the routine for us, for my job, is you have each section of the aircraft that we're focusing on. So focusing on the weapon sections for this next couple of days, and then we're focusing on electrical power section, all that. So we break down the aircraft, each components and systems that are on the aircraft, and then it's death by PowerPoint. It's everyone's got to do PowerPoint presentations, all right? You do the same thing when you're in college. You got to learn somehow the teacher's talking no matter what. So it's going to be death by PowerPoint. And then we go out there and we tinker around with the aircraft and start looking at what we were talking about and what we're learning. And then we're getting out there and then we're breaking the components apart, taking them apart, and doing all the hands-on portions. And then you have 2 testing types. So you have a book test, which is, hey, are you really understanding where to go to get this information, how the system and
like a paper test.
Yeah, so a paper test of hey, you press power on. What happens first? Okay, what happens first to the aircraft when you press power on? Does the battery fire up, or does the APU kick on? What are all the steps to get that aircraft on? So it'll ask paper questions like that, and then you're going to go out there and you're going to do a hands-on section. So, for example, when you're doing the gun, you're ripping the gun completely apart, you're pulling out the chain, and then you got to reassemble the entire component. So then they're inspecting that to make sure that you know how to do the maintenance portion, but also the intellectual portion that comes with your job.
So let me ask you this, since you have that training, obviously that can be applied to the civilian world. What companies would hire you simply because you have that training?
Any airline.
Any airline?
Any airline.
Any airport?
Any airport.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's actually pretty good.
So you won't graduate with your A&P license, but the Army completely pays for your A&P license. We have a study program.
What is an A&P, so the viewers?
Airframe and power plant license. Okay. So you won't receive that, but you will receive all the training for it. So on the civilian side, they have months and months and months.
Probably very expensive.
And yeah, you're forking out a lot of money for that license, and then you have to do all this job shadow and all this stuff. Well, I'm getting paid to learn all these different tasks and components on the aircraft. So what we do is you just take your test, you get blessed off on the test, which the Army has an entire study program for and prepares you for it. Take the test. And then all your hands-on portion is, you're already doing your job at work, and you get all that stuff signed off, turn your paperwork, here's your license.
So if you want the training, you want the certifications and the licensing, you didn't have to pay a dime. Everything's free.
Everything's free.
Okay.
You just got to show up to work and do your job.
All right.
It's all covered for.
So let's look at the requirements to join that job. If you're interested in this position in the Army, you need to be a U.S. citizen or have a green card. If you have a green card after basic training, you get your citizenship. You have to be between the ages of 17 and 34, pass a criminal background, no drugs, so you have to pass the drug screening test, and be in good health. So be healthy. No felonies. If you have some law stuff that we can work with as recruiters, but best case scenario, no felonies. Those are the requirements to join. That's it. You don't need college. You don't need previous experience. We will get you where you need to be this repair mechanic. Okay. Kind of the good things that comes with that. You're going to be trained on electrical theory. You're going to be trained on troubleshooting procedures. You're going to be trained on soldering techniques and electrical system maintenance. Is that accurate?
100% accurate. So just talking about that schooling portion. So before I even get to that portion where I'm learning the aircraft, we do a whole section where you're just learning in typical maintenance. So it starts off a little slow, and it picks up like the first week is, all right, this is a screwdriver. This is a Phillips screwdriver.
So by the
this
numbers.
is a flathead screwdriver. It starts off very basic, and then we're working into just doing safety wire, lock. So we call it lock wire, but most people know it's safety wire.
Yeah.
So you're holding down bolts and stuff to different things to make sure that they don't rattle off. So you're learning basic fundamentals of maintenance, and then we go into a full electrical theory section where you're just learning about how electricity works, AC, DC,
Basic electronics.
switches, just so basic electronics, and then you roll into the actual aircraft. So it's a lot of training, a lot of
Out of all the
skills.
Out of all the Army MOSs, out of the 150, would you choose another job? If looking back at it,
hard days. Yeah, of course. Everyone. I mean, like you just
Thank you for your honesty.
Gosh, this job sucks today. I should have done this or this or this. But then
I feel like that's every job.
Yeah, that's every job. But at the end of the day, no, I love it.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have any closing comments that you want to say about being a 15 Yankee? If there's viewers that are interested in that job.
Yeah, don't hesitate. If you want to do something in aviation, I will say this is really a good job to learn almost every position. Because not only are you learning on electrical, avionics, and armament side, but you actually do get to learn a lot of the flight critical components. So main rotor head, all that stuff. I've done a lot of cross training. So one of the positions that I filled out in Korea was a technical inspector, and I was actually cross trained on my sistering job. So I was fully qualified on that job, and I know everything about it. And so now that's something that I just add to my tool belt, add to my resume,
Tool belt.
and just
I call it my toolbox, but that's funny you bring that up. Those are our previous videos. So let me ask you this: if your goal, and for the viewers that are watching, say one day I want to be a pilot, is this a good stepping stone to get to that goal?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So I mean, any job in the Army is going to get you to that goal, but I do say a lot of the times it is easier if you come from an aviation background, just because you are working with pilots, because it's one of the requirements. But don't if you want to go do something really cool and then come over to aviation, or if you still want to go do something really cool and you want to become a pilot, all it takes is you just walking your happy butt over to the hangar and just asking a random pilot, be like, hey, do you mind sitting down talking to me and interviewing me and seeing if I would be a good candidate of being a pilot for the Army?
So anyone could do it in the Army then?
Yeah, anyone can apply for it. Aviation, you just have that slight advantage just because you are working with the pilot. So it's easier to be like, hey, sir, because you see him every single day. Do you mind sitting down talking with me and interviewing me and see if I'm a good fit?
In my mind as well, to be a good pilot, I think you would have to have a good understanding of your equipment. So I feel like being a mechanic and understanding would also be great if you're a pilot because you know the operational theories, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, if you're interested in this job, you can always message us. We have Facebook, social media. We have our cell numbers posted everywhere. If you want to know more information, let us know, message us, and we'll reach out to you. It doesn't matter where you're at in the country. We'll answer to you and find your local recruiter. Thank you for tuning in to Primetime Ride Time.
We're right here by the local recruiter.
Sergeant Richard Guffey coming on the show to talk about his job, 15 Yankee. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see y'all later.